a long time? I know I do, which is why I'm excited to present Rooting Ergonomics. Before we begin, I just have a couple of disclaimers. Number one, if you are experiencing pain, tingling, or numbness in your fingers, hand, or wrist, stop rooting, contact your doctor. These are symptoms of repetitive strain injury. Number two, during this video I will be demonstrating some of the items that I wear to help protect the joints in my hands and wrists. Please check with your doctor or physical therapist before purchasing any hand or wrist braces. And with that said, let's get started. Before we dig into the details, we should first answer the question, what is ergonomics? We get the word ergonomics from two Greek words, ergos, which means work, and nomos, which means laws. So ergos nomos are the laws of work. What are the benefits of ergonomics? According to the U.S. Occupational Health and Safety Administration, there are multiple benefits, the first being that you work faster and you're more efficient at the task. You also work safer, reducing the likelihood of injury and strain. And it increases morale. You work happier. So how do we apply this principle to rooting? I have 5 tips that will help you to work faster, safer, and happier. The first, stabilizing the head. Second, maintaining proper posture. Third, keeping your hands in working position. Number 4, take short breaks but often. And last but not least, stop after an hour. That's the hardest one for most people to deal with, but it's worth it. It's for your health. So let's jump in. Step 1, stabilize the head. When the head's not stabilized, you find yourself chasing it all over the place. Who's got time for that? To help stabilize the head, I like to use a bowl. This is a Cali bowl, 40 ounces. It's big enough for anything from a preemie to a toddler. I really love that it has a rubber grip on the bottom, so it's not sliding around on the table as I'm rooting. So to help reinforce this bowl, I'm going to add a piece of shelf liner to the inside of the bowl. And then on top of that, a dinner napkin. Tip number 2, maintain proper posture. I suggest using an office chair or some chair that you're able to adjust the height and the back. Make sure that your lower back is supported and you can sit comfortably with both feet planted firmly on the ground. Once you're at the rooting station, adjust your chair such that you're able to reach your work while keeping your elbows in a comfortable position. If you have to extend your elbows in order to root, continue adjusting the chair until you're comfortable and you can hold your arms in a relaxed position. Along the lines of maintaining proper posture, it's important to reduce eye strain. If you're having to bend over to see your piece, consider lowering your chair so that your face is closer to the rooting. Also, if you wear reading glasses, now would be a really good time to put those on. Reading glasses will help you to focus on the tiny hairs that you're rooting. Illuminating your work will also help you to see the hairs and space them appropriately. Finally, you can use magnification to help improve your posture as well as reduce eye strain. Tip number 3, keep your hands in working position. This is working position. This is the opposite of working position. Flexing your wrist in this way puts pressure on the median nerve in your wrist. The median nerve runs from your forearm to your hand through a small space in your wrist called the carpal tunnel. Consider using a wrist brace to keep your hands in working position. This brace will have a metal tab for extra support. That metal tab is inserted into the brace itself, and there's plenty of cushioning between you and the pad. When you put on the brace, make sure that it's not too tight, as this can constrict blood flow to the rest of your hand. You should have support but be comfortable. For even more flexible support, I also like to use craft gloves. Make sure you select a size that is snug but not too tight. And by the way, they do come in less tacky colors. And that is how I protect my hands when I root. Unfortunately, some tutorials advocate rooting with the needle facing you, which is putting your wrist in that carpal tunnel position. This is a horrible idea. As much as possible, root with the needle pointing away from you so your wrists are relaxed. Last but not least, mind your grip, and this is on both the hair as well as the needle. There's a tendency to hold on very, very tight to both of these things when you're rooting, because it gives a sense of security and stability. But the truth of the matter is, if your nails and fingertips are turning white, you're holding way, way too tight. Loosen the grip, allow the blood to flow, and the rooting will flow as well. Also, one thing that may help you to not hold the hair so tight is to hold it on the side of your finger, as opposed to pinching it with your hands. Holding it on the side helps you to maintain a looser grip while ensuring that your hand is relaxed around the subject. It's also important that you use a rooting tool. If you're rooting with just the straight needle, you have to hold it really tight in your fingers, which causes you to have a very, very tight grip on the work that you're doing. Try to use at least a small tool, which will allow you to loosen your grip and hold it more like a pencil. Or if you use the mushroom tool, put the mushroom in the base of your hand and allow your fingers to hold on to the rest of the needle. So this grip is as loose as possible, and my hands are as relaxed as possible as I'm rooting. A friend of mine in college had a saying, take short breaks but often. And this is hard to do when you're rooting. After you've been rooting for a little while, your eyes get adjusted to the subject, the head's nice and warm, you're rooting right along. I call this getting in the groove. Unfortunately, I must interrupt your groove. Set an alarm if you have to. It's important to stop and take a break. Give your eyes a break by focusing on an object that's far away, either by looking out the window or at something on the other side of the room. Gently stretch your neck to relieve any tension that's built up in your neck or in your shoulders. And don't forget to work those hands and arms. They've been working hard. And even better idea, take a walk. Last but not least, stop after rooting for an hour. And this is probably the most difficult tip to follow, but it came straight out of the mouth of my physical therapist, especially if you are experiencing any of the symptoms that I described, the numbness, the tingling, or the pain in your hands. Do not allow yourself to root for more than 45 minutes to an hour at a time. It's hard to do, but you'll be much better for it. And frankly, by rooting faster, safer, and happier, I've actually found that I can cover a lot of ground in an hour. This is not an exhaustive list of ergonomics tips as they apply to rooting and other repetitive tasks. So I want to hear from you. Please post to the blog, comment on the video, and let us all know some of the things that you do to root as safely as possible.